over. He wasn't taking any chances. Ball played down the right to Shedden. Maybe forced to give it back to Anderson. No, a little back heel inside to Bunzi. Flicks it up and chips it over the head of Anglin, and then he's brought down. Referee says play on. Barnes, long ball over to the left-hand side. Looking for Boyd. Boyd tossing away with Longren. Longren almost losing his footing, but comes away with the ball well. Plays it up towards English. English gets there before Bunzi. Bunzi made an attempt, or it seemed to shape as if he was going for the ball, but I don't think he would have imagined that he could have gotten to that ball. His intent, I'm sure, was to bring down English, and he succeeded at that and gave away a free kick. Powell tries to thread it right for Johnson. Interception once more. Boyd on the ball, middle of the Waterhouse half, left-hand side of the field. Plays it inside now to Barnes. Barnes knocks it right, and Bunzi is ball watching, but kept his eyes on the ball, but didn't go after it with the body. And he was just having a go at Shedden. I wonder what Shedden would have said to him then. Here is Anderson. Brings it under control. Smith tries to win it back. Anderson, though, has conceded, has gained a throw-in. Throws it languidly to Bunzi. Bunzi inside to Barnes. Barnes back to Anderson. Ball bobbling at his feet. Knocks it forward for Shedden. Shedden turns away from English. English snapping at him again. Still with Shedden, though. Wants some support from the right flank. This is where he's got to cut inside. He couldn't do so. A combination of Powell and English putting the ball out for a throw-in. A little more than midway the Waterhouse half. It's a throw-in to Waterhouse. English to take it. Down the left-hand side, but it's come to Richards, who's moved into the middle of the field from his left wing position. Forward to Boyd. He uses his hand to control it. And a free kick. I think these guys have been watching the Central Americans. There's been some attempted handballs that have just been a little less than subtle, and so the referee's been able to pick them up, and the crowd for that matter. But certainly more attempts at hiding the attempt to hand the ball.
That one was plumb in front of the referee. That one by Walter Boyd.
Not subtle enough. From the resulting kick, the ball has gone out for a throw-in for Waterhouse. Thrown back, given away by Andy Lowe to Walter Boyd. A left-footed shot, and into the goal. And a mistake by Andy Lowe, clearing the ball out right into the path of Walter Boyd. He had a clear run at goal, and when he's got one of those, and when he rifles it, then there's a few goalkeepers who have a chance, and Gregory Hall didn't. It is 1-0 to Arnett Gardens in the 37th minute of the first half.
Now, usually goals come from a variety of reasons. The most common one being when an attacker is allowed to roam free and not under any pressure. Another common factor is when defenders simply give the ball away. And Andy Lowe could have done better with that ball. It's almost as if he played a return pass to Walter Boyd, and his left foot, from my eye here, it's a bit dark over on that side, but he took possession, dribbled a couple paces forward, and then unleashed a powerful left footer to the goalkeeper's right. Collins, Gregory Hall, I think he got his palm to it, but then the power of the shot just knocked his palm aside, and a fierce grounder, and deservedly Arnett 1-0 ahead.
You cannot give Walter Boyd that sort of opportunity, no matter what sort of form he's in. He's not going to miss those, and when he hits it with the left foot, my goodness me, it does stay hit. And Gregory Hall now knows that. Arnett Gardens taking the lead in the 36th minute of the first half. And really the period of domination paying off. Now they've got to watch out, because Wilson is throwing himself forward, diving like some kind of swallow at the ball. And you can easily get carried away. Here is Boyd on the ball, trying to turn away from Lundgren. Not Lundgren's fault, wasn't his fault that time. Boyd is on the ball this time. Moving away from him, pulls it back, skips over it, dances one way then the other. Lundgren isn't moving. Boyd keeps possession, whips it in now, and Andy Lowe clears it away. But it was a horrendous mistake by Andy Lowe. Complete lack of concentration, and it was almost as if he was giving a pass to his national teammate.
Walter Boyd just now looking like a man from the 60s dancing to the scatterlights.
He sends in another ball, which is headed away by Andy Lowe this time. Comes up as far as Barnes. He loses possession to Symes, and the crowd right behind the Arnett Gardens team at the moment. And while that goal was scored, we then saw Gerald Neal do his trademark gymnastics. He went the full length of the field doing somersaults and high flies and all sorts of things. One of these days he's going to do it, and he's not going to get up off the field without the aid of a stretcher. Here is Wilson, or Neal rather, coming forward. Skips away from two challenges, plays it back for Richards. For Scott, who moves over to the left-hand side of the field. Now he plays it forward to Barnes. Barnes gets rid of it before Anglin can get the tackle in. Byron Earl is fouled by Eldemeyer just inside the centre circle. It's a free kick to of vibrant Arnett Gardens at the moment. Here is Shedden. In fact, the kick was taken from the wrong place. Now it is where Barnes will take it. Stabs it forward. Again, he's looking for Boyd. Boyd gets ahead to it this time. It's nodded away. Comes out as far as Anderson, who hits it on the volley. The ball screws away past the left-hand post and out for a goal kick.
Well, Walter Boyd certainly having success for that hard work rate that he has been employing since the start of the game. But an encouraging sign for Arnett Gardens is that a couple of times we see the passes between Shedden and Bunzi going awry, and then, you know, you would expect them to be continuing the quarreling. But after that play has been over and done with, new play, they go forward with the same amount of enthusiasm.
Possibly a new discipline in the Arnett team.
It's an encouraging sign from the two players involved.
Scott trying to go forward. Anglin wins it, bangs it forward, which I'm sure is the wrong tactic for Waterhouse. They are a better ball-playing side than that Shastri, and I suspect that they're not going to win too many foot races or even balls in the air against the likes of Neil and Wilson in the centre of defence for Arnett Gardens.
From Waterhouse's point of view, what is necessary is for Anglin and Blair to go forward and support Smith and Symes up front.
Smith on the ball, whipping across, and it comes to Johnson. He must score. He does. He was unmarked. He got behind the defenders, and Smith got the cross in, and he just had to tap it past a diving Collins. It is 1-1 in the 40th minute of the match, and Waterhouse have replied almost immediately against the run of play.
Definitely, although Neil and Wilson are good winners of the ball and very good athletic type players, they usually good defenders and good motor vehicle drivers have one thing in common. They know what is happening behind them. If you're a driver, you're glancing in your rearview mirror now and again. Neil and Wilson, they keep focused on what is happening in front of them, and that cross came in behind them, and there was no cover and support. Neither of them supporting each other. Both defenders, Wilson and Neil, going too forward, too eagerly to try and win the ball, and then Boris Johnson left him almost, he could not have missed that one.
I don't think so.
It almost looked as if he was offside and everybody was waiting to hear the whistle, but it was no offside. It was a perfect cross that came in. And Boris Johnson, well, luckily for him, he took that one in the game last week against Olympic. He missed chances, more chances than what you'd see on a balloon normally at Christmas time, the balloon cards.
Ball cleared upfield towards Barnes, and I did say that Arnett would have to be careful and not get carried away, and I suspect that is what happened. They've got the chance now. Ball played forward to Barnes, to Boyd. Onadilo gets there first. Plays it upfield, but gives it away to Bunzi. Goes through Bunzi's legs, but it's picked up by Barnes. He again chips it in towards the penalty area. This time Johnson gets a header away. Now to Blair, now to Anglin, back to Blair, and that's a delightful ball from Blair, straight over to Leroy Smith, left-hand side. Symes is in the offside position, and the flag goes up, and the free kick played. I don't know what Symes is complaining about. He was offside for about 4 minutes.
He was in an onside position when his teammate just received the pass, but just before the pass was made, Wilson came out and left him in an offside position. He possibly thought that the defender marking him was still keeping him onside.
Richards tries to push it through Blair down the left-hand side. It comes off Blair, goes out for a throw-in. What an atmosphere we've got here at the National Stadium. 1-1 between Arnett Gardens and Waterhouse in this mid-season final. A battle over on the right side between Blair and Shedden. Shedden comes away with the ball via the throw-in route. Richards can't do much with it. Powell, again, really hasn't stamped his class on this match yet for Waterhouse. Blair picks the ball out of the night sky, plays it forward to Smith. Blair is finding his range with the passes. Smith, left-hand side to English. He's unmarked. Now they come across to mark him. Too late. He plays it into the penalty area. Nodded away by Wilson. Out to Anglin. He fires from long range. And Collins somersaults past his left-hand post to make sure that the ball went away. But that was struck with power. And it was picked up quickly by Anglin. And he only had one thing on his mind, and that was to shoot.
His first touch was a bit poor, though. The ball went a bit too much to the right of him, and he had to swing his right leg around from the hip and was not able to get enough accuracy. Although he's such a strong fellow, even not his body right behind the line of the shot, he still managed to get some power on that shot.
Earl has a throw in for Arnett. Inside to Bunzi. Bunzi, left-footed pass over to the far side, picked out by Johnson. Anglin has possession but loses it as Scott gets into the challenge. It comes down to Onadilo. Hits it upfield. It's a long ball, nodded on by Smith. Doesn't come to Symes though. It's nodded away. Comes over to Blair on the right-hand side. Johnson making a run down the right flank. It's switched over to the left-hand side. English trying to get there first. Anderson is the man who comes away with it and gets it to Bunzi. Up to the halfway line. Forward for Boyd. Boyd in possession. Trying to get away from Longren, still in possession. Little pass forward to Bunzi. Powell gets into the challenge. Ball comes loose for Longren. It's played out to English. He's got a little room to work with, left-hand side. Plays it down the left flank for Symes. Symes in a foot race with Wilson, and he won't beat Wilson. Wilson slides into the challenge and knocks the ball away for a throw-in. Well, I wonder if Jeffrey Maxwell's earlier words will come back to haunt him when he said he wouldn't be paying any special attention to Walter Boyd. It wasn't true, of course. He put Longren on him. Here is the ball played into the penalty area. Got knocked away by Gerald Neal. Waterhouse looking to go 2-1 ahead. And a foul by Symes on Lucian Anderson over on the right-hand side in front of the grandstand. 44 minutes gone on our watch. It's 1-1 in this mid-season final, which again, it's worth repeating, is worthy of the final of the Premier League itself. Anderson leaving the kick for Neal. Neal deep into the Waterhouse half, headed away by Johnson. Headed over to the left-hand side where Bunzi plays it back to Barnes. Barnes forward looking for Boyd. Boyd backing into Longren, has possession of the ball now. Skips away from him, goes down the right, gets some help from Bunzi. Bunzi swings it across the penalty area. Nobody there, it's too far over to the other side. Johnson swivels and hammers it upfield. Blair gets under it. 1 minute left in the first half, according to the fourth official. It's a 1 minute that Arnott Gardens will try to keep possession. They've got Scott on the ball at the moment. Anglin goes across to challenge him. Plays it left for Shedden. Shedden brought down from a late challenge by Johnson. And a free kick awarded over on the left-hand side. Quite sure that wasn't worthy of a booking. It was always going to be late. And maybe Shedden's turn made it look worse than it actually was. Here is Richards bringing it forward for Arnott. Still with Richards. Now he plays it left to Shedden. The cross should come. It does. Cleared away by Longren. Booted over to the right-hand side. Richards gets under it. Nice little control ball to Scott. Scott forced to play it back to Motty Barnes in the middle of his own half. Plays it left to Anderson. Anderson with a little chip forward. It won't come to Earl. It's cleared away by Eldermeyer. Anglin nods it on to Blair. Blair stabs it forward for Smith. Smith waiting for some support. There's none coming. And he gives the ball away to Eugene Barnes. Barnes walks it up to the halfway line, then releases it to Bunzi. Bunzi turns inside, away from Anglin, still carrying it forward. Now to Scott. Scott plays it back, though, to Eugene Barnes, and that is the end of the first half. It is 1-1 at half-time between Waterhouse and Arnott Gardens, and we're going to get a word from Jeffrey Maxwell, who will speak to Colin Barnett.
Jeffrey, 1-1 at half-time, your thoughts?
A good game so far. Arnott has a little more of the ball than us, but I think we're making too many mistakes by giving it to them. I think that by the time the second half comes, we are hoping that our game plan is to wear them down, to let them do the running. A very careless mistake by Nandilo as a centre-half at that level. He gave Boyd a gift, and you know, when you play at this level, you don't make those type of mistakes. But
any changes for the second half?
No, not right away, but we'll think about bringing the wingers in about another 15-20 minutes.
Okay, thank you, Jeffrey. So that's Jeffrey Maxwell. Simon will try and get a word with Admiral Bailey at the half-time. Admiral, the early lead, conceding a goal after 3 minutes after scoring. Better of the first half, you'd say?
Yeah, well, we achieved the objective that we set out to do in the first half. But I think we got a little careless after we scored that first goal and relaxed a little, and Waterhouse come back on us. But, you know, I like what I see so far. I mean, this has been the best start, you know, since playing Waterhouse. So, you know, we're just going in now and talk about it and get back to the drawing board and see what we can come up with at our second half.
Thank you, Admiral.
Colin Barnett speaking to Admiral Bailey, before that to Jeffrey Maxwell. Once more with Blair playing it back to Winston Anglin, who immediately releases it right side of the field to Waterhouse, kicking down towards the sea in this half in their gold shirts, blue shorts and white socks, up against Arnott Gardens, kicking up towards the hills to the west in their red and black striped shirts with white numbers, red shorts and red socks. Long ball played downfield and cleared away by Gerald Neal in his inimitable fashion, with both feet off the ground, booting it away over to the right-hand side and out towards the bleachers for a throw-in.
A clearance like that, he could have given some advantage by clearing it more upfield.
Throw-in taken for Waterhouse, comes across to Leroy Smith. It is English over on the left-hand side, plays across in low into the legs of Wilson. Anderson is the man making the clearance, hits it into the advertising signs going around the field, and it'll be another throw for Waterhouse. So Waterhouse immediately applying the pressure. on the left-hand side of the field. Ball played in towards Blair, trying to turn to go back towards goal. It's cleared upfield, and Andy Lowe brings it down with the left boot, and then fires a long-range effort all from the halfway line, which allows Collins to move hurriedly over to his right, palm the ball down, and then dribble it out towards the end of his area. He picks it up now and hits it upfield. Again, it's up into the night sky, into the Waterhouse half. Another header away from Lowe, comes down towards Blair, but taken away from him. Oh, it's nodded on towards Symes, played back to Anglin. Anglin to Blair. Blair in a dangerous position. Ball on his left foot, cuts it on to the right, hits it, but into the legs of Barnes. It's cleared up as far as Anglin. Anglin lobs it forward once more to Symes. Symes flicks it over his own head. Leroy Smith going down towards the corner flag. Stretches out, puts the foot on the ball. Here comes another cross. It's to the far post. The keeper's backpedaling, reaches up and grabs it. And in the end, it was a pretty easy catch for Collins. But something we wanted to mention as well in the first half, the type of cross delivered by Gray was just a perfectly weighted one. Wasn't hit too hard. Here's Blair trying to capitalize on a mistake. Can't do so. It's cleared away from the edge of the area, up towards Anderson. Trying to find Bunzi. It does so. Bunzi stretching away now. English at his heels. Turns to come inside towards the centre circle. Now he goes back to the right. Plays it back over to the right flank. Lucian Anderson in possession. Nobody coming to him yet. He plays a long ball up in towards the penalty area. Eldermeyer jumps. Gets there before Shedden. His header comes down to Blair in the centre circle. Lobs it on for Gray. Gray gives it back to Blair, but Barnes is getting inside, and the foot is high, and the free kick given. Taken quickly. Waterhouse looking to march through Arnott Gardens defenders. Ball played over to the right, but too long for Johnson. And the ball is out for a throw-in in front of the grandstand. Yes, Shastri, that cross from Gray. Not hit too hard.
The one that resulted in the goal?
Yeah.
It was a perfectly weighted one. Made easier by both defenders, not offering any cover to each other.
Waterhouse on the attack again, but Collins comes out with the foot out first and then catching the ball in front of Symes. Gets the ball away to Scott, left-hand side. For Arnott Gardens, forced to play it back to Richards. Richards now, back to Scott, and then continues his run down the left flank. Passes the halfway flank, the ball bobbling away from him all the time. And he might blame the stadium surface for that. But it really got away from him and it went out for a throw-in. Powell, right-hand side of the field, takes the throw down towards Symes. And Symes is reduced to, with being in a position with his back to goal, with the defender behind him and trying to hook the ball over his own head and the head of the defender, but more often than not, just giving the ball away. Here is Gray, knocks it back for Powell. Powell with a long-range shot in towards Collins, and Collins just gets under it almost like a cricketer waiting for the catch and just pulls the ball into the body. And then he bowls it out up to the halfway line. He really does have a long throw, but straight to the Waterhouse player. It's not back for Blair, left-hand side of the field. He tries to come inside away from Neil. Gets the ball inside to Powell. Powell bravely nods it forward for Gray. Edge of the area, can't get the shot off. He's fallen to the ground, and that allows Wilson to bring it away with Scott finishing it off and pumping it forward. But again, Waterhouse win the ball back. Here is Anglin, and they seem to be winning the battle in the midfield this time, Shastri. Now to Symes. Symes with a good cross, but straight to the keeper. A good cross in terms that he managed to whip the cross in.
Well, certainly the first 4 minutes of the second half, it has been Waterhouse's game. They have had territorial advantage. I don't think Walter Boyd has touched the ball since the start of the second half.
Ball has hardly been out of the Arnott half. They might have a chance to get it forward now. They have a free kick right-hand side of the field. It's knocked forward. Looking for Boyd. Longren is with him. Boyd's goal chain just flashing under the lights. Well, Maxwell said he would bring on a winger, and he's going to do that in Leo Horton, who will no doubt move over to the left flank. We'll see who he's going to take off. So throwing over on the far side. Meantime, just inside the Waterhouse half for Arnott Gardens. Now the referee wants it taken a little further forward, up towards the middle of the Waterhouse half.
The number on the fourth official's card is number 12. It suggests that Leroy Smith might be the one coming off.
The goal scorer, the provider of the goal rather, for Boris Johnson. Throw-in taken. Again, it looked a little dodgy from the right-hand side, but referee says play on. The ball's knocked down towards Gerald Neal. He's coming forward from the halfway line. That's left it 1-on-1 at the moment, but there was an infringement and a free kick awarded to Waterhouse inside their own half. So Waterhouse about to make that substitution. Leo Horton coming on for Leroy Gray, and Gray getting a round of applause. Leroy Smith rather. Leroy Gray firmly ensconced on the Waterhouse bench, of course, the goalkeeper. Here is Boris Johnson. Knocks it forward for Anglin. Anglin gives it back to him. Johnson tries to thread it through a couple of players to get it to Symes. Can't do so. It's broken up Bunzi coming forward now for Arnott, gets it to Earl. Really haven't seen much of him in the match at all so far. Waterhouse winning the ball back, banging it downfield, straight onto the chest of Gerald Neal. Neal plays it left-hand side. Richards has to stretch and go behind to keep the ball in play. Does so, knocks it up off the head of Scott to Johnson. And Johnson gets a return pass from Powell. Waterhouse on the attack. Blair making a run over to the left-hand side. He's spotted a little late by Anderson. Knocked in for Horton. Horton just took a little too long, and he's still trying to bring it under control. He's done so now. Forced away from the goal. Turns and fires. It's charged down. The Arnott Gardens scrambling to clear it away. Back out to Horton. Still on his right foot. Turning. Pulls it back for Powell, who tries it. As the ball came back to him, hit it first time, and it's way, way wayward. And out for a goal kick. But the Arnott Gardens players were at 6s and 7s, allowing Leo Horton to take his time to try and bring it under control in the penalty area. Well, and lucky to get away with it.
Leo Horton has provided what Leroy Smith was not able to do in terms of fireworks in his attempt at getting the ball. Really a tenacious fighter of the ball, Leo Horton is.
Earl knocked off the ball by Eldemeyer. Paul picks up the loose ball, plays it forward. Straight at Neal. Neal's control letting him down. He's pulling at the back of Horton, who's trying to get away from him. Now Bunzi comes in to get the tackling, but Horton has won a free kick. 40 yards out, dead centre of goal. And this could be interesting. This is where you'd want somebody like Kirk Martin from this distance with the power. But an Andy Lowe can certainly strike it. He's coming up. Blair is standing over the ball. Leo Horton is back there as well. And Andy Lowe, Powell, all three rush at the ball. Horton is the man who hits it into the top of the wall. I think he's knocked a player out. He's knocked Lucian Anderson to the ground, and he looked like a heavyweight boxer who had been taking the punch. The ball comes out to Blair. And you keep an eye on Lucian Anderson as a long shot comes in from Johnson. But he struck that with power, did Leo Horton, and it hit the head of the wall, which was Lucian Anderson's. And he spun around almost like Trevor Berbick after a little 1-2 with Mike Tyson. And he was looking for the referee.
A very ferocious shot there. Anderson did lose his balance.
Ball cleared up from the goal kick. Played back to an Andy Lowe. Hits it first time with the left boot, but straight at Bunzi. Bunzi's control lets him down, and not surprised it was hit at him with pace. Now he pulls English to the ground. A free kick awarded to Waterhouse, middle of their own half. That was a tremendous free kick from Leo Horton. Thought an Andy Lowe might power it forward. I think Anderson wished he'd gotten out of the way. He's looking at him over on the right-hand side. He seems to be okay. Now then, Eldemeyer. Long ball forward for Symes. Ball bounces in front of Symes, and he's beaten by the bounce. It goes over his head. And he really has been ineffective, mainly because of the type of service. A long ball to Symes really just isn't going to work.
With opponents like Wilson and Gerald Neal.
They clean up every time. And Neal is the man who bangs it forward. Eldemeyer gets ahead to it first. Now Anglin brings it down on that big chest of his, but the tenacious Robert Scott takes it away from him. Anglin is sliding away as he tries to win it back, but Scott turns, gives it to Barnes. Barnes loses possession for a moment, but it's knocked up, and Neal will pick up the loose ball in the Arnott Gardens half. He plays a good long ball forward, looking for Boyd, and Boyd steps away from Lundgren this time. He's down the right flank. Lundgren backtracking again. Boyd now has 3 players to get away from. And in the end, one of them gets a boot in, and the ball runs away for a throw-in. It looks to be Lundgren who might have gotten the foot in. English was over there as well. And certainly, whenever Boyd gets the ball, there's excitement here at the National Stadium. After scoring in the 36th minute to give Arnott the lead, Boris Johnson in the 40th, making it 1-1. That's how it is at the moment. We're 9 minutes into the second half, with Arnott on the attack down the right-hand side. Ball cleared away to Horton, back in his own half to pick up the ball. Still with Horton, wants some support. Players rushing forward now for Waterhouse. Plays it left-hand side for English. Keeps it in play, does he? No, he doesn't. The ball has run out and is out for a throw to Arnott Gardens. Middle of their own half. Throw in straight into the back of English. It's knocked out once more. Looks like Alberta Frey walking up and down the touchline. And George Pringle off the bench for Arnott Gardens at the moment. A sign of the 4th official going to the numbers. Now he does. So clearly Arnott about to make a substitution as Richards sends a long ball forward. Eldemeyer gets there first, but the ball is knocked on towards Boyd. Cleared away eventually by Powell, and it's out for a throw-in over on the far side for Arnott Gardens. 1-1 in the match. The throw comes in to Bunzi. Tries to do the little flicked header back into the penalty area. Didn't make enough contact on it. It's cleared downfield, but Arnott on the attack once more. Anderson, a left-footed pass over to the left-hand side of the penalty area. Glancing header away by Lundgren. Sends the ball over to the left-hand side where Scott picks it up. Scott now trying to get away from Anglin, but Anglin takes it away from him expertly. Brings the ball away now to Lundgren. Lundgren gives it away to Barnes. Barnes plays it inside to Bunzi. Bunzi looks up, sees that Anderson is making a run down the right-hand side. Again, the ball is played a little too far forward, and Anderson leans into English before getting to the ball, and it's a free kick for Waterhouse. They're trying to attract referee Clive Wright's attention so that Pringle can come on for Arnett Gardens. And it looks as if he's going to come on for Denton Shedden. Similar types of players. Maybe Pringle is maybe a little better at his distribution and better at winning the ball. Wearing an out of style hairdo, where the rest of the head is shaved and just a little hair left on top. Well, I say a little hair, about 2 inches of hair on the top. Like there was a movie, Party Time or something like that. Long ball over on the left-hand side. Horton, I think, trying to get it forward towards goal, but didn't really have any intention of doing so. It had gone out for a throw-in. They've taken it quickly out at Gardens, bursting down the right-hand side now, cutting inside. Was Lucian Anderson. He's brought to the ground once more. Challenge from Powell. Free kick to Arnett Gardens. Just about 15 yards into the Waterhouse half. Boyd is back there. He seems keen to take it just to the right of goal. Must be about 50 yards out. I'm sure he will try and test Gregory Hall from there. Waterhouse defenders backing up towards the end of their penalty area. Few Arnett Gardens players dribbling into the penalty area. Boyd is backed away a good 10 yards away from the ball. Runs up to it now. Hits it with the left foot. He went for goal, but it was over the bar and out for a goal kick.
His intention was clear, but the accuracy was just not there. The second half has started off a bit more aggressive. In the first half, we saw no more than about 4 fouls committed by either team. But with only not even 15 minutes gone yet, we're in the 12th minute, unofficially, of course. And either team, both teams, have committed more than half the fouls they committed in the first 45 minutes.
And yet the pace seems to be a little slower. Low with the goal kick. Barnes gets under it with a header. So too does Johnson. Johnson heads it over towards the Marathon Tunnel. He was looking for Blair. Challenge comes in from Anderson. And a free kick awarded to Waterhouse. Blair takes it quickly, but this again is too long. And they're looking for Science, but Collins will say, thank you for the early Christmas present. Science was never going to get to it. And Collins, with his clearance, comes up towards the halfway line. Johnson gets there first, hits it back down towards the penalty area. Science is running back from an offside position. Free kick to Arnett Gardens, left-hand side of the field. We've had 13 minutes gone. It's still 1-1 between Waterhouse and Arnett Gardens, who come forward now in the shape of Barnes. Long ball forward down the left-hand side for Boyd. Boyd a little back heel inside to Pringle, who's just come on. Pringle tackled from behind by Johnson. And it's just outside the penalty area, left-hand side of the field. Clive Wright rushes over to the spot where it is. Pringle stays on the ground. That was all brought about by Boyd going down the left-hand side, bringing Lundgren with him. And then the back heel inside let Pringle in. And Johnson felt he had no other option but to take away the legs from behind. A free kick. I don't know what a yellow card is worth these days, but again, the tackle from behind, that certainly seemed like it should have been one.
Well, that certainly is deserving of a yellow card. And the play was going goalwards.
3-man wall in front of Boyd. Switching now to hit it with the right foot. Chips it into the wall and goes for the corner kick. So a corner kick to Arnett Gardens. Boyd, who could have hit it with the left foot, chose to hit it with the right. It was almost in the short corner position. Now it's a full corner. Boyd to take it once more. This time he'll swing it in with the right boot again. To the far post. Hall is coming out, punching it, nothing. A header comes in, Hall dives, makes the stop. It's cleared downfield by Blair, but there was an infringement in the penalty area, or the perceived infringement, because you only have to look at the goalkeeper now to get a free kick, and the free kick awarded to Waterhouse.
That one from here, it seemed as if Onandilo beat the goalkeeper to the ball and headed it out of the danger zone, and it came right back in, and the ensuing melee, the goalkeeper got the advantage in his favour.
Alberto Frey now replacing Fabian Symes, and he's making his way straight over to the left-hand side of the field. It doesn't surprise me. English will drop further back into the midfield, one suspects. That leaves Leo Horton alone in up front. Nobody on the right-hand side, really. As Arnett Gardens have a throw-in. Anderson inside to Bunzi. Bunzi will try and work it back to Barnes, but he's being forced back to his own goal under pressure. Wilson tried to clearance, but was put under pressure by Frey. But the ball ricocheting off Frey and going all the way down to Collins in goal for Arnett Gardens. Collins' clearance is not a good one. It's going down towards the halfway flag, just kept in play. Is it? No, it isn't. In fact, it's gone out for a throw into Waterhouse in front of the Marathon Tunnel. So a couple of substitutions by both teams. But the score remains at 1-1 with 16 minutes gone in the second half. Goal scored by Walter Boyd for Barnet Gardens and Boris Johnson for Waterhouse. Big crowd enjoying the action and waiting to see the goal kick, which Collins will take. Kevin Lamy is off the bench, going to do some warm-up exercises and some stretching. Not fully recovered from injury to the left leg, we understand, wearing gold boots. Well, will they be golden tonight if he does come on? Here is Leo Horton trying to get the better of Richards. And Horton certainly has some pace, but Richards made sure to play it away for a throw-in almost immediately. Horton will take the throw himself. Throws it back to Anglin. Anglin turns away from his man. It's on his left foot. He's dribbling across the face of the penalty area. Now being forced away by Neal. Plays it away for Powell. Powell slides away from the challenge by Neal. Hits it with the left foot. And had Collins reaching for the top left-hand corner. And Collins was a relieved man to see it just brush past the top upright and go away for a goal kick. But that was well struck. And it was going to cause Collins some difficulty.
Good left-footed shot by Powell. His face turned in one direction, he swung almost a similarity of Boyd's right foot shot in the first half.
Earl, who really has been a spectator in this match, gets the ball back to Bunzi. Now he has possession, does Earl. Plays the ball forward for Walter Boyd, is in the penalty area. That's a magnificent goal. Walter Boyd just burst into the penalty area onto that pass from Byron Earl. He struck it with amazing force. It hit the underside of the bar, ricocheted down into the back of the net, and it's 2-1 with 18 minutes gone in the second half, the 63rd minute of the match. Barnet Gardens go ahead again, Shastri.
Definitely, and this one is a sizzler. I don't think any rocket fire that he ran could have matched that one that Walter Boyd unleashed just now. That one was, I mean, that's one of the fiercest right foot I've seen in a long time, albeit from close range. At halftime when we were talking, Simon, and I mentioned that Walter Boyd was getting the better of Lundgren. You seem to disagree a bit, but I said at that time the covering support for Lundgren was there, but this time the covering support was just not there close enough.
Well, the difference was this, Shastri. It was played into the path of Walter Boyd running forward. And the other thing we have to mention is the speed at which he got onto the pass. He was like lightning, and the right foot was cocked and ready to fire, and when it did, it was a Scud missile. And it really almost took the crossbar off. It hit the top of the crossbar down into the net. And it's I suppose, in this season of goodwill,
I don't think that description of Scud is doing any difference. The Scud's usually miss, but this one was like an extra set.
And it is just surely it is. Wilson was up, almost standing on Andy Lowe's shoulders, and it is possibly about 10 yards away from the edge of the penalty area.
Just about where the crescent is in front of the 18-yard box. Now this is dangerous stuff.
Wilson was pushing down on an Andy Lowe. Who will take the kick? The wall not built yet. Nugent is asking Sylvian Collins where he wants the wall. Maybe about 25 yards out. The ball is spotted. A four-man wall moving back, now building up to 5 men. Collins, not quite sure where he wants to position himself. He's almost positioned himself in the middle of the goal. Powell is standing over the ball. He's going to take the kick. The whistle is blown. Powell rifles it into the wall. It was a good height and good power, but the wall doing its job. It comes back out to Powell. Played left to Eldemeyer. Now back to Powell, who's continued his run. Has possessions. Good work by Richards to take it away from him. Powell, or rather Horton wins it back over on the left touchline. The ball's run out for a throw-in. Thrown all the way back to Eldemeyer. Now played left-hand side to Powell as it's the latest score here at the National Stadium. Barnet Gardens leading Waterhouse by 2-1 as Waterhouse launch an attack down the left-hand side. 44 minutes gone in the second half on our watch. Ball played into the penalty area. Header from Lamy. It's rifled into the goal from the rebound by Boris Johnson in the 45th minute on our watch. And they make it 2-2. And Barnet Gardens lost out again. It is 2-2 at the moment. in the death of this game. Lamy climbing with a header from the cross. The rebound coming out to Boris Johnson. He gets his second goal of the match to make it 2-2.
Well, is Ardegar's going to go to pieces now? It was close to the goalkeeper, but sometimes the density of players inside the 6-yard box, although it could be said that that ball was loose inside the 6-yard box, the number of players in front of goalkeeper Collins would have made it difficult for him. The central defenders there now was just, it seems to be just a bit of mix-up there. They thought that the goalkeeper would come for it. The goalkeeper, the amount of players in his way right there now, he just couldn't get a clear path to the ball. And then that ball was rifled in.
A script writer couldn't have written a better script if you paid him $3 million. What a match. It's 2-2. It's heading into sudden death extra time. We've got 1 minute left of normal time. And the last time Waterhouse were into sudden death in a match, it was the final of the Federation Cup, which half of you came away with. Well, will that have put them in good stead? There may be a little bit of a mix-up. Barnes and Lamy, they've slid off the field after a challenge, and it ends up as nothing. The two players weren't really interested in battling with each other. Meanwhile, the action switches to the right-hand side of the field. With Arnett on the attack. Walter Boyd brought to the ground, a free kick. We are running out of normal time. We're heading into sudden death extra time with the score at 2-2. Boris Johnson getting his second goal of the match in stoppage time. And Boyd is down on the ground at the moment, but he will pick himself up and take the free kick, it would seem.
Well, the spectators could have asked for a better Christmas present from a footballing point of view.
And
those in a game like this.
Those spectators who've made their way out to the ground will be sadly disappointed as the referee signals the end of normal time. It is 2-2 at the end of it, and getting it underway for Arnett Gardens. The ball is played back to Scott. We're in overtime here as Barnes sends a long ball over to the right-hand side, looking for Pringle, one of the substitutes. He'll have fresh legs, so will Philip Nugent for Arnett Gardens, coming out as a substitute. And Waterhouse, they made a couple of substitutions themselves, but one of them is Lamy, who's carrying an injury. And we'll see how effective he can be in this situation. They also brought on Alberto Frey, and he's always got strong legs, always full of running. Playing over on the left-hand side of the field. Lots of crackers and thunderbolts going off in the crowd. And as I said, at one point it really looked as if we were looking down on a European final with the orange flares and the pink flares going off. Nice overhead kick by Bunzi in towards the penalty area, but an equally good clearance by Andy Lowe, who shepherds the players out of defence as well, hoping to catch somebody offside. Neil is forced to knock it back to his keeper with the head, so Collins can pick it up and boot it up to the halfway line. There's a lot of height on the kick. Lowe comes forward to head it away up by the centre circle, but it beat him and it went behind and almost let in Walter Boyd, who is limping at the moment. Walter Boyd, who's limping after that stretch, and I suspect it's cramp more than anything else as the ball comes down the left-hand side. Waterhouse trying to launch an attack with Leo Horton. Tackle comes in though from Wilson, and the ball is put into touch, but Boyd is still in the Waterhouse half, and I suspect it is cramp, Shastri. You saw him reach down to the toe of his boot and pull it back, which is usually a sign that a player has cramp. Here comes the throw. It's to Horton. Played back over to the left-hand side. Whipped in now, and again Collins comes across, but again he makes an easy catch. And if I'm looking at Lamy too, and he seems to be carrying a bit of a limp as well. He came into the game injured. The ball's booted out towards Blair. Blair gets to it first, gets away from the challenge by Bunzi. Now he plays it left-hand side to English. Knocked inside to Johnson. No! He's got his hat-trick! And that's it! Waterhouse win! It came out of nothing! Boris Johnson! Oh, he's doing a sprint down the field. And he's come on season final. And again, Arnett Gardens are the bridesmaids here at the National Stadium. And we've got Glendon Admiral Bailey, who must almost be in a state of shock as that winner came from nowhere.
Well, boy, it's just a little tough luck today, you know. I think we come out and we play the type of football that we discussed that we play. It's just one of them things. I don't